Ladies and gentlemen, how's it going? It's your boy Roar. Now, just like, other instances on the internet that I had been a part of, a lot of the dance revolution in 2012 to 2017, around that time, a few other things like that through YouTube's history, right? Things can ebb and flow and change. People can come and go, sometimes without even expressing why. And it can make you feel like, what's the context? What do we know? What have we missed? What can we figure out? And it's in one of those cases, Sameko Saba, the independent VTuber that we all know and love, disappeared. And I've been watching Rima Evenstar's stuff for a long time, and I'm very curious to see what they've dug up on this matter. I'm just kind of curious to see what information they might produce. Because I think, if anything, one thing I love about Rima's stuff is they always have some sort of lesson or something that we can garner from discussion about these things, right? It's not just empty discussion about the internet and how it works. It can be a place that is watchful of others and caring about other people and, supportive in the right ways. So anyway, let's jump into it.
Plenty of people dream of becoming content creator. More than
Very
half
true.
of Gen Z said they'd want to be an influencer when they grow up. And on paper, it looks like the dream. The fame, the money, the attention, a whole audience that revolves only around you. So what happens when someone gets all of it? The engaged fan base, the sponsors and merch companies all lining up, the record-breaking numbers, and then just walks away. Sameko Saba broke a record nobody thought could be broken. 1 million subscribers just 3 days after she debuted, faster than anyone in the history of the medium. That happened in June 2025, and by the spring of 2026, she'd vanished from content creation entirely, and her fans had no idea why. It all came to a head in April.
I told myself that if she didn't stream or even make a community post by the next time this renews, I would have to cancel it. But this really is such a hard decision for me. I want to keep supporting her, but IMO, it's a little screwed up to just go AWOL without any notice. I mean, I totally get that, but on the flip side, how many of us ghost each other in relationships, right? What is the answer? Maybe for some of us, we're like, well, I don't know how to break it to you. I deleted my whole previous channel without telling anybody anything. We were close to 20,000 subscribers. I'd been grinding for several years at that point, and then I felt like my channel had lost its brakes. I wasn't able to do anything to help myself mentally, and I felt like the only thing I could do was destroy this thing that I had spent years trying to build, and I didn't know how to tell anybody that. Because obviously, what's everyone going to say? Oh, you can keep going, you can change your schedule, you can do whatever you need, we'll always be here to support you. It got to be harder than I thought it could be. So I would assume that there's other things to this instead of her just going AWOL. But when it comes to trying to explain some things to your audience, we all want to be nice about it, or at least most of us do. I care about my audience, and sometimes I don't know how to explain things to them and, maybe put out some boundaries and be like, I can't, Anyway, though, let's keep going here.
And somebody finally got fed up and canceled their membership, which on its own is the least interesting thing that can happen on the internet. After all, people cancel subscriptions every single day and the world keeps turning. But that post hit a nerve that turned out to...
Okay, wait. Bullying, even if she treats it like them. If anyone did this... Oh man, if everyone did this, she would be streaming tomorrow. So I feel like the older I get and the more I try and engage in social media, the more I realize I don't think it's actually the worst thing ever to just not have social media. Even as a content creator, I don't need to have a Twitter. Whenever I look on that site, whenever something pulls me to look at a thread on Twitter or something, the insane mental gymnastics that people go through to justify literally anything they could possibly want, even if their observation is completely not related to the point at hand, they will go through rigmarole like you wouldn't believe to justify the worst things about anybody. It's nauseating, actually, to see how some of that goes. And those aren't the kind of people I want to appeal to anyway, so don't want to do it.
Run through an entire community and beyond. It had found the exact spot where it hurt and pressed.
There isn't a single other VTuber I would know who would take this many frequent hiatuses and not even make a post. I mean, that's fair. Even Geek, what the heck was her name? She was very infrequent with VShojo, but I totally forgot her name. I thought it was like Geek or something. Anyway, I'm not even asking for this much, just a vague, sorry for lack of content, personal things happen, but we get nothing. Maybe I'll change my mind in the morning. I get that too. However, if this is a situation where someone is so worried about people pleasing, it can feel like nothing you can say will help. And I just say that because I'm just trying to, figure out why someone would be, not even be able to be like, hey, I can't make anything right now. I'm sorry, I will get back to it. I don't know. I feel like I've been there before, so I can kind of understand.
By the next morning, it wasn't one annoyed subscriber anymore. Quote tweets stacked on quote tweets. People who'd been stewing for weeks all talked at once, and one post in particular sailed past 1.5 million.
Overpriced merch and then left again without another word. Now that, I forgot even to think about that with the merch, Now, I don't even know by what metric you can argue if something's overpriced. I don't have merch yet, so I don't even know. I'm going to try and go with a cheap option when I get there. But yeah, that does seem a little bit funky when you word it that way. I forgot about the merch.
Views while the replies turned into open warfare. The name Sameko Saba stayed trending for days, but unfortunately what was being said about her wasn't all that positive.
However, like I said, with it being Twitter and stuff like that, again, there can be people just churning the rumor mill because it gets clicks and views. You got to understand how insane some of these people can be. It's not like everyone on the platform is completely reasonable individuals. A lot of them are sick. Like, I'm just saying. And they can justify literally anything. So of course you can get something trending if enough people are like, I just hate this person. Yeah, I hate this person too. I don't even have a reason for it, but I'm just gonna hate them. Whatever. But
hopefully that cancelled membership didn't start anything. The water had been at low boil for months, covered, rattling, building pressure with nowhere to go. And all that one post did was knock the lid off. Everything that came pouring out was already there. The thing
that is a horrible thing, though, if you realize that one person's observation turns into a ginormous thing because you've finally given people an opportunity to speak about something huge like that. That's a tough spot.
Set them off was almost insultingly simple. She hadn't gone live since February 7th. No stream, barely a word, dead silence stretching across months. From someone whose debut was, by numbers, one of the most watched arrivals VTubing had ever produced. She had previously walked away from the biggest VTuber agency on the planet, left it on purpose, and the reason everyone thought so at the time was freedom. The freedom to do this her own way, on her own schedule, without anyone above her telling her when to show up. That was the whole point. And she's now streaming less than she ever did while she was within that company. Go looking for an explanation and you'll find no shortage of them. Some people will tell you that she's a grifter cashing.
Yeah, well, and see, this is what I'm talking about. Of course, in your paradigm of how the internet works, if you genuinely think everyone is bad actors and bad faith is what drives all content creation, well then of course the only rationale you can give is that you have these parasocial pay pigs that will just do anything for you. Okay, if you only give people that option, then I guess we all are. Like, come on, have some rationale here.
Royalty checks from her couch. Others will say that she's just too sick to work, and there's the one where the pressure of her fame was already going to win. Netizens have landed on all of them, and you can see why. But every one of those theories are really missing the point.
Well, and so for me, as soon as I heard that there was some potential health issues, well then I got it. Even when, I can't remember if it was Bay or someone else, but they were like, hey, she's doing okay. Just so you know, I've checked in with things. We're doing okay. I get that because health stuff is unpredictable. And if you have major issues, sometimes there's nothing you can do. Your body just has to heal. But that does, even then, because I was willing to dismiss it and be like, she's back when she gets back. But being able to at least have some discussion on like, hey, I have really big issues and I'm trying to work through it. I got these health issues. I'll come back when I can. Like, that would at least be something.
To understand what's actually happening, you have to go back a lot further than that. Years before any of this, before the record-breaking numbers, before the agency, there was a girl on the internet pretending to be drunk.
Fuck the teardrop in my eye won't cut you
That's Senzawa, late 2017.
Pretending to be
give
drunk?
Or take, this little voice starts showing up on YouTube. Hi, sweet, innocent. The kind of voice you'd expect reading a children's book. Except it was attached to some of the most deranged, crude, and gloriously stupid humor you could imagine. And that
I honestly knew nothing about this. I knew there was this caricature from years past, but I never watched any of their stuff. I never knew anything about that. Pretending to be drunk. Okay, I'm already a little bit nervous here.
Contrast was the whole appeal, and people couldn't imagine. And that contrast was the whole appeal, and people couldn't look away. She made her name doing what fans lovingly called high-effort shitposting. She takes some piece of throwaway internet garbage and put an absurd amount of real skill into it. We're talking full vocal range on a rap parody of a copy pasta nobody asked for.
Okay, Boomer. Whatever you say, Boomer.
Stuff that had no business sounding as good as it did sounded good. And layered over all of it was the drunk act. She'd slur her way through chaotic streams and sometimes just come apart on camera as they went.
I haven't even started drinking yet and I'm already ready to like yell. I hope you guys like this game so far, and if it's on Steam. Oh, I'm looking at the sky. Is this what it feels like to be dead?
And her fans absolutely ate it up. She sold it so well that people genuinely started debating whether it was an act or not. Some were convinced that she really did have a drinking problem. Others figured she just got nervous performing and used it to take the edge off.
So that's the thing that bothers me about all this. How do all of you genuinely think that you are the ones who have the answer? I just know. I've seen enough experience to be like, I know she's an alcoholic. And then someone else is like, well, no, clearly it's all a performance. How the heck do you people live? I don't understand this. Because this type of stuff, and this is the issue I have with so much of this negative bad faith posting, from music critics onto random people on Twitter, you give people a terrible first impression. Your words affect how other people see things. You might act like none of that is your fault and you can say and do whatever you want. It doesn't matter if you think that, because your words do affect how other people see things, and then those impressions affect other people. If you were just some random Twitter guy who didn't have any traction, who cares? But this stuff circulates. People get these negative impressions about things. It's just frustrating. That's what ticks me off about this stuff.
I wasn't there, and Reddit being Reddit, I couldn't tell you which it was. But here's what I do know. At one point, she edited her YouTube description to spell out that the drunk thing was a bit, and it barely moved the needle. People wanted more of it regardless. More chaos, more mess, more of the unhinged version they decided was the real her. She built this persona as a joke, and now she was left trapped inside it by the exact same people who loved her. So she'd leave.
Okay, well... Okay, well, so that makes sense, though, that you create a persona that people love and then you feel trapped by it. That's one of the things why I would suggest, especially what they were saying at the beginning of the video of so many young people wanting to become influencers. It's a dangerous route to go because some people will do anything to try and get fame, but then that's the thing that follows you. I've been very careful with every single one of my videos I've ever made across all platforms that every video, if that was the thing to blow up, then I would be okay with that. Instead of like, oh no, I made this really stupid video over here and that got 10 million views, but then this other thing I worked for weeks on got 1,000. It kind of made me think of the Markiplier effect, where he's like, I did meow and moo and all these goofy videos. Those have so many views, and then my shows that I've made, the movies that I made, haven't gotten as many views. I would hate to be that way. So I can understand this sentiment.
Zawa never really kept a schedule anyways. She dropped a video that blew up, disappeared for months, came back, disappeared again. One account on Reddit retells how they believe...
Well, so in that regard, though, your audience expects it. They're used to it, though. that makes sense though. Like that is another thing too with like, yes, you can make a video. Like I've made videos saying, hey, I do need to pull back and only post every so often because I need to be more responsible for my mental health and how much time I put into this channel. And people can get used to that. But if you start off having an inconsistent schedule, people get used to that. You know, they've taken time to look at your channel and be like, okay, you don't post very much. Got it. But if you start getting the impression that you're going to post a lot and frequently, well, then people are going to hold you to that. So
one of the last messages in her Discord server was something along the lines of, every time I visit here, I die a little inside. She was always a feast or famine content creator, even all the way back then.
Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. See you guys in 9 months.
And then, in 2020, she left for good. Her second to last post on Twitter was just this, a fistful of nonsense. She streamed once more on June 23rd and then went dark. There was no goodbye and no explanation, not even an announcement, just nothing.
See, that's
fans
weird.
Had no idea where she went. It took months for them to piece it all together. And what they figured out was that she hadn't quit at all. No, she disappeared right as a new Shark Girl was debuting over at a company called Hololive. A few months after Senzao went dark, Hololive, the biggest VTuber agency in the world, announced its first ever English-speaking lineup, and one of them was a shark. Think of a VTuber agency like a record label mixed with Disney. Well, without its controversies. Actually, scratch that. They are riddled with controversies too. But anyways, they do hire entertainers and give them a high-quality animated VTuber avatar, tech gear, and a massive built-in fan base. The creator gets to be a VTuber under a huge brand name, and in exchange, the agency owns the character and takes a cut of the money they make from streams, merch, and concerts they organize. So amidst all of that, Gargura debuted. And Gargura is a tiny apex predator with a hoodie and a trident and a voice many recognized. She was a great pick for Hololive. After all, she had already proven that she could be popular online and that she understood internet audiences. Her Senzawa channel had been a massive success, so her debut was one of the most anticipated streams the scene had ever seen, and it started with a technical problem and a long delay. So thousands of people just sat there waiting. And when she finally came through, her very first word as Gargura was that became an iconic meme, and a meme pulled in tens of thousands more people that all started spamming A in chat. And from that second, she basically never came back down. She became the most subscribed VTuber in history. Not the most subscribed English one, the most subscribed full stop. The timing was almost unfair. This is late 2020 we're talking about. The world is locked inside, everyone's online, and starving for something to watch. And here comes a cute shark girl singing nostalgic English songs in a space that almost had no big English VTubers in it yet. It was the perfect combination of luck and preparation coming together. She wasn't doing it alone. Some of the most beloved stuff from that era came out of her friendships with the other members of her gen.
I still remember how I first learned about Myth, and then someone was telling me, hey, you need to check out the other members of the group, because the first VTuber I ever learned, the English VTuber I ever learned about, was Kiara Takanashi. And then someone was like, hey, she's in a group and there's a rapper in that group. And then and my life changed, at least my content creation changed. But I remember that whole stream where Amelia did the the police lineup thing to introduce everybody. It's just really funny.
Particular with one of them, Amelia Watson. Fans shipped the two as Ame Same, since Same means shark in Japanese, and the two of them leaned all the way into it. Amelia openly called Gura her wife, and their dynamic, the Ame's gremlin/troll energy mixed with Gura's sassy but gullible nature, made for legendary streams. During the early
I remember
days
that
of
stream.
EN server, their duo
What? I just remember when she was talking about the leg vector that they had. It was like, well, why are mine out like this while yours are crossed like a lady?
streams built a lot of the server's early lore. They'd play Minecraft on separate streams at the same time and kept colliding into each other's world, crashing cards, botching rescues, and Gura dying roughly every 4 minutes while Ame tried to save her. Their A Way Out playthrough was arguably their most legendary gaming collab. Watching them try to coordinate a prison escape was pure chaos, and they
These guys were
constantly
the
messed
best.
with each other.
Can I get a shot of this from the side one more time? I want to see what... Hey, bada. Hey! Okay, let me...
Good luck with your lame responsibilities. I'll be out here playing darts. Let me know when you're free to have fun.
Listen, I'm here being a dad. You wouldn't understand.
Oh.
My kid just avoided me by climbing out the window.
This is
shot, kid!
It's not fair.
What? My kid sucks!
And not just online, offline too. Whenever Ame and Gura managed to meet in real life, it was a massive event for the community. Their offline collabs, like doing VR together and playing Twister, are some of
Oh
the
my
most
gosh, I
viewed
forgot
and are
about
still
that.
some of the most clipped moments in Holo EN history. Not to
Aw.
mention their impromptu karaoke duets and specifically their cover/singing of the Fortnite meme song Chug Jug With You that went wildly viral and became another defining meme for the duo. As for Gura herself, she accomplished many things that very few content creators would ever have the opportunity to do. Among some of her biggest achievements, she sang Take Me Out to the Ball Game at a Dodger Stadium during an actual major league game.
That's so cool.
Tokyo made her
I will say I am so happy that people just went with that. I think it was Coefficient that covered the media response on Twitter. I think I was still on Twitter at the time because I was asking about it during his post. Actually, I was the one that asked about that, I think, because I said, like, how many people actually got it instead of the people that were like, this is so weird. And then I think his chat said something like, people just went with it and they're like, oh, cool, it's some character singing. And I was like, thank you. Because as someone who has been ashamed of liking anime for the last 25 years, it just kind of is just nice to see some real world representation out there. You know what I mean?
official tourism ambassador. She also showed up in a Taco Bell commercial.
I saw
Yet
that one.
A shark VTuber was being hired by a baseball stadium, a city government, and a fast food chain. That's the level we're talking about.
That's so crazy.
Gura wasn't just big for a VTuber. We're talking industry breaking big. And I already made a video on exactly why she blew up the way she did and the challenges she faced along the way. So the link's up there if you want to go see the deep dive. The short version of it is that she had the timing, she had the talent, and she had years of being Senzawa hiding underneath her polish. And people figured out that part pretty fast. The shark was the same girl who'd vanished without a goodbye a year before. She just never confirmed it because she didn't have to. And she wasn't really allowed to neither. But her voice gave it away. Whatever the name on the bottle said, Senzawa was still in there. But even back then, Gura was
whatever the name on the bottle was.
Top, the biggest VTuber in the world still took a 2-month break for her health in December 2022. The physical demands of her corporate obligations began catching up to her. On December 16th,
and that's what I was
she
thinking it
tweeted,
was.
Going to the doctors today. It's all attached to my health, so it's stressful to deal with. Sorry I've been so quiet about it. And then on December 21, Cover Corp issued an official announcement saying that she was suspending her streams to recover. And Gura followed up by tweeting she decided together that it would be the best for me to take serious time for my health. She never explicitly stated what was actually wrong, but outside of the formal announcement, the trail was there anyway. She'd mentioned her doctor warning her not to get out of bed too fast in the morning because she was prone to fainting, and she had the stories to back it up, including one time she fainted and fell backward into an AC unit, and another where she passed out in the bathtub.
Speaking of being able to hop up out of bed really fast in the morning, my doctor told me not to do that anymore. I was so eager to get out of bed. I would hop out of bed and I would faint. I would pass out. One time I hopped out of bed so quickly, then I went to another room and I fainted. I fell backwards into like a ladder and an air conditioning unit. I also faint in the bathtub or in the shower. Yeah.
In 2023, there was backlash regarding a pre-chat incident due to people fighting in her chat over her not streaming for weeks at a time and going radio silent. Well, according to them, Gura ended up disabling her livestream pre-chat and pinned a comment. It was the first time Gora directly addressed how
Okay, little update. I'm doing what I can when I can. I don't know what my new normal is or will be in terms of frequency. I just hope we can have a good time. Okay, I mean, that makes sense. I feel like that is reasonable, you know? Okay.
her streaming frequency dropped and mentioned a new normal. Discussions on forums and Reddit exploded, and even all the way back then, people had already started expressing concerns with her communications. This is also where we can see the start of a fan base divide, where some
That's not even a proper explanation. Why aren't you streaming? Eating up all this toxic positivity all you want, but some people are really hurt and you know that you can do better than this. I mean, to a degree, but if you genuinely don't know how to explain what's going on, I think the problem I have with a lot of this type of discussion is these people are never held accountable. It's always the entertainers who have to rise above, and they have to be the ones who have to answer the call. They have to explain things the way that the fans want them to. When really, buddy, maybe you could just shut up. Like, maybe you could just realize that what you're given is enough, and you need to confront your own self by thinking, wait, I'm not getting the answer I want, so then I'm going to complain. Maybe the issue is you in this situation. I'm just saying.
Some of her most disgruntled fans would later turn into her most obsessive antis, while others adapted and managed their expectations.
Oh, yeah, and of course we talk about anties. Now we know what to expect, which is basically not expect anything concrete because you don't know. The people fine with that can stay, and if not, they can leave. Thanks for the clarification. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you.
On September 2024, she posted about going through a rough health spot while thanking fans for anniversary wishes. And on February 2025, she mentioned having a fever plus other health issues that delayed her Valentine's content, but planned to return the following week. And those bouts of disappearing because of her health only got worse over time. Early Gora streamed constantly. Late Gora barely streamed at all. The last few years before she graduated, her schedule went from packed to almost empty. There was long gaps everywhere, hiatus after hiatus, until she was hardly doing the normal streaming and idol stuff at all. The strange part is that it barely dented her. The old VODs and the big corporate projects kept her enormous even while she was rarely live. And all of it traced back to the same place. The stress of being the face of an entire industry mixed with her health struggles, they were crushing her.
Well, and so this is the other part of this, and this is why I have less sympathy for most people on the internet. You can sit there and rationalize in your head how a successful person should operate, how they should manage their stress, how they should manage all these things. But dude, you have no idea what you're talking about. You've never actually been in these shoes. You don't know one iota of what it's like to have the expectations and the pressures that these folks do. So respectively, I'm going to say until you get to that position, you are talking out both sides of your neck. I don't feel like I need to respect people who sit there and go, why can't you just do this? Oh, I don't know. Why don't you show us how to do that when you have the exact same amount of famous success? Because part of that, we have no idea what goes behind the scenes. So how dare we sit there and try and act like, well, you should just do this. What?
I'm sure that being the #1 subscribed VTuber comes with a lot of pressure and anxiety. How did you feel about being catapulted into this position? Has this feeling maybe changed over the years? Have you been able to handle it better, etc.?
Terrified.
Right
Wow.
from the beginning, or did it maybe take some time in the beginning where you were still like just in this like high, this joyful
No.
high? No? Okay.
From the very start, it was pretty difficult. I had like trouble eating and keeping food down, so I was kind of working off of adrenaline fumes all of the time. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. It was really hard to balance all of it. I also had a lot of stressful things going on, stressful like company stuff going on. I've been juggling really badly.
So by the time she announced she was leaving Hololive in 2025, a lot of people weren't shocked at all.
I'm really sorry for worrying you or upsetting you with this announcement. This has been a very long time coming, but today I am here to announce that I will be graduating from Hololive on May 1st, 2025.
They had watched her drift away.
You know, first of all, I like the play on words, or not play on words, but the topical word usage. They've been watching her drift away, ocean, what have you. Well, and that's, I mean, that, the response that some people have had to that announcement was one of the most frustrating aspects of the internet for me. These people who just think whatever they think is right, and nothing will ever convince them otherwise, and then they gallivant off onto whatever platform they want and just argue that they are right and they will never listen to anybody else. It was the same thing when Iron Mouse came forward and they were like, hey, VShojo stole money from me. I'm leaving right now. And then everyone left like the next day, which was great. I was very happy for that, pretty much, at least in the English branch, if I remember correctly. And people were like, well, I don't like the timing of that. How did she not know that they were stealing money? I think she was skimming off the top. And I'm like, do you have any information for that at all? And they're like, it's just obvious. And I'm like, bro, shut your ass up. Like, so when people, you know, look at that graduation announcement and they were saying, oh, she's just farming for views. She's just trying to, you know, play to everyone's emotions. Okay. Where did you get to be such an expert at listening to someone get emotional, talking about something, and you just know beyond a shadow of a doubt that everyone who does that is a lying sack of crap? How? How'd you figure that out? It bothers me so much.
From the spotlight for years, and to them, it wasn't a bombshell. It felt like something that had been coming for a long time.
Do you wish you weren't in this #1 position?
Sometimes I think about it. Like, I do wonder if it would have changed the stress levels, my path, but also I'm really thankful for the opportunities that were given to me. I wouldn't change what happened for the world, kind of thing. I look back and I look through that incredibly hard time that I went through, finding my footing. I can say that I'm proud of myself.
I'm so happy to hear that, because you really should be. You really should be proud. You've been put in a very difficult position and you made it through as long as you could, and you still ended up taking a very difficult decision to leave.
On May 1st,
well, and so that's where I'm confused that people wouldn't take Kiara's viewpoint into account, right? She's seen a side of Gura that we will never see. And if she's able to look at it from her professional opinion and say, hey, you know, you worked really hard on this and you should be proud of accomplishing what you did for as long as you could under that stressful situation, why didn't we ever consider that as important? I never got that.
2025, Gargura officially graduated. She left Hololive. The most subscribed VTuber in history was walking away from the company that had made her a household name. And everyone wondered why.
I heard the news. I think not everyone heard the news. I don't want to talk about it too much. It makes me sad. But I hope she will be happy.
Your Oshi is graduating? Oh, be happy for the times that you had. Your Oshi will continue to live on. And know that your Oshi is still out there. So don't be a fucking stranger. You know what I mean?
Gargura decided to leave Hololive. If you pull this up, it has 18 million views.
Gargura graduated! Gargura is one of the biggest fucking VTubers in the world.
The official reason was
maybe it's because there's so many people on the internet I just don't like. I don't get why anyone cares about what Asmund says. And I know Ludwig is friends with Connor, but it feels like he really rubs shoulders with those people, and I don't know anything about him. But every time I see clips about him or people talking about him, it seems like he just knows how to rub shoulders with the right people. And that goes into the areas of streaming that I hate, where you get the XQCs, you get the Plaque Boy Maxes, you get the Aiden Rosses, you get the Balarkis, you get the people who literally find out, who do I have to rub shoulders with, and then I'm just going to harass everybody else. And I hate people like that. Anyway, I don't know anything about Ludwig, though, so I'm not going to spread misinformation. I just don't like the guy, and I definitely don't like Asmund. I don't get why people like those guys. Anyway.
Was that she had disagreement with management, differences over where the company was heading.
My reasons being disagreements with management and company direction.
And Hololive had grown into this massive idol machine after they went public. All big concerts and tightly managed PR and merch cycles. And Gura had always been happy as just streaming spontaneously on her own terms. There were clips of her mentioning ideas getting stuck in the company's pipeline for months. One of her songs, Full Color, reportedly sat unreleased for over a year and a half. And you can imagine how that would wear on someone. However, besides the creative difference, there was one part of her graduation that really stood out for many.
So many eyes and expectations. I remember there being many days where the stress was so overwhelming that I couldn't eat or keep food down.
Beyond the stalled bureaucracy, beyond the responsibilities, being the most popular VTuber of the company meant that that role came with expectations, whether she streamed or not. Will Gura be there? Will Gura show up to this project? The expectations and the weight that her fame carried was so overwhelming for her that there were days she couldn't keep food down.
Oh my god, my stomach. Did you get it?
Not a big deal.
I have to log off for you.
Eh?
I'm gonna go cry.
There was something almost cruel about that, because you can fix a management disagreement by leaving the company, but the eyes and the expectations were never Hololife's to give back. They'd attached themselves to her, and they'd followed her under any name she'd ever perform under. She wasn't walking away from them, she was taking them with her.
See, and that would suck. I would genuinely hate that. Fortunately, when I started this channel, I had no reason to think that anyone who previously knew about me would want to come back, because I did say goodbye without anything at all. I tried my best to explain it on the very first video on this channel, and I don't think I did a very good job, because at the time I hadn't even really processed why I did what I did. I just had to take action in the only way I thought I could at the time. But the response that was given, like, I got 1,000 subscribers within, I don't know, like a month. I mean, it was really quick, you know, and it's been steady growth since then. You know, I feel like I had around 1,000 pretty strong supporters, you know, from that previous channel that found me and all that. But it's just sad. Anyway, I just, you know, to think of now having this ginormous name behind you, this ginormous reputation behind you. I mean, how have we seen that work in the opposite? Where someone does something wrong, they try and scrub their VTuber stuff and then move to something else, and people find them again. And then they can't thrive under a different name. They can't do anything different under a different name. Now, in a lot of those cases, they're not trying to apologize and make amends. They're just trying to act like, oh, nobody knows what's going on, I'm just going to go over here. And of course, it doesn't work out, which is good. But it's still, that's a tough thing, man. Because that's another thing I'd suggest to kids trying to do content creation. Like, if you get known for something, that's what you're going to be known for. Is that the kind of thing you want to hold on to long after you lose interest in trying to be an influencer or whatever?
Gura would become a landmark name no matter which personality she streamed under. She wasn't leaving to escape a company, now really. She was leaving to escape being the center of gravity. And you can't quit that by switching jobs. So the most famous VTuber in history walks away. The problem is she couldn't take herself with her. When you sign with a company like Hololive, you don't own your character. They do. It's like an actor playing a role in a franchise. The actor brings a voice and a personality, but a studio owns the character itself, the name, and the face of the design. So when the talent leaves, the character stays with the company. Gura, the model, the name, all of it belonged to Covercore.
Those outfits, I remember those.
She left Gura behind. She kept her voice though, her personality, and her fan base if they decided to follow her in her reincarnation. But She also can't use the old Gargura channel to point fans towards anything new because advertising her independent channel off the company's IP could get her into legal trouble.
True.
How does she came back without being allowed to say it's her? Well, she left some clues. Initially, before she even graduated, she had begun leaving some cryptic clues on her Senzawa account. Gargura officially graduated from Hololive on May 1st, 2025.
I do like the very
first hint of
hopeful
her
music in the
transition
background.
actually occurred
What's gonna happen
approximately
next?
6 months prior
What's
to
gonna
her
happen
graduation.
next?
On November 3rd, 2024, Senzawa updated her Twitter bio to read #1 fan of Gargura and leaving the end of the sentence blank as a cryptic T.
That's so crazy too that you have such a fan base that even a year after you post anything, people are still paying attention. I would have loved to have that kind of pull to do cryptic stuff. Like, I've wanted to do that with my music for years. I wanted to be able to just put something out there, have like an ARG going, and just have it be so cryptic, but knowing that people are going to pay attention. That would be so fun. I would love to do that.
Fans only later realized this meant she'd been planning the transition and rebranding for quite some time. However, 19 days after Gargura's graduation, she revealed the full meaning of her bio when Senzawa updated it again to officially state #1 fan of @Gargura and @Sameko Saba. Finally, the fans had a hint and, more importantly, had a name to attach their...
Sorry, I just was going to say...
Finally!
This is one of my favorite meme faces in all of the VTuber space. It's so funny.
The fans had a hint and, more importantly, had a name to attach their excitement on. They flooded the new handle with follows and the news traveled super fast. Gargura was reincarnating as Sameko Saba. The name was the final confirmation. Pure Japanese, Same means shark, that's Gura, Ko means child, Saba means mackerel, child of a shark reborn as a new fish. Then Saba started posting on her own Twitter account. May 19th was her first tweet, yo-ho, and a fish emoji. It got 10.8 million views on 2 words from an account that had never streamed a second of content. She put up a couple of songs soon after that, and the voice settled whatever doubt there was left with audiences. By the time she set a debut date, over 554,000 people had already subscribed to her channel that had never even gone live. Her fans hadn't seen her in months, some of them in years. And then finally came G-Day.
Yo-ho, yo-ho, yo-ho. Hi. I didn't think I was going to be like this, but here I am. Hello. Hello, nice to meet you. My name is Sameko Saba, and I am here. My name is Saba. It's nice to meet you. I've never met you before.
I never met you
I
before.
have a fishtail. I'm a fish. Don't ask any other further questions.
The debut peaked just over 200,000 viewers 9 minutes into her stream. A few days later, she passed 1 million subscribers, faster than anyone had ever seen in VTubing history. And the tweet she posted to mark it all was this: a Jaws joke. 500,000 subscribers before a single stream is already absurd, but she crossed 1 million in under 3 days. For comparison, the previous record for fastest VTuber to 1 million was held by Salome, and that took around...
Salome, okay. I'd seen that name before, but I had no idea how to pronounce Salome, and God help me if I try to pronounce the other name. Yokumantenbara. Yokumantenbara. I can't. I'm a horrible American. Happy 250 years, America.
The previous record for fastest VTuber to 1 million was held by Salome, and that took around 13 days. Saba did it under 3. By the standards anyone tracks these things, her debut was the second biggest VTuber debut ever recorded, beaten only by another ex-Hololive talent's return. And later, in 2025, when Streams Charts ranked the most watched VTubers of the year by peak viewership, Saba landed in the top 10. The only English VTuber ahead of her was Gargura. She was, in effect, competing with her own ghost. So 3 names now.
Nice
Senzawa,
visual of the
then
fighting
Gora,
there.
Then Saba. Same voice, same pattern underneath all of them. A huge arrival, a wave of love, and eventually the disappearing. She'd done it twice. The only question left was how long this one would last. Sameko Saba did not have a regular indie VTuber debut. Not only because she had an already established fan base that followed her, but also because she had an entire machine operating behind her. Weeks before that first Yoho tweet on May 2nd, 2025, a company called Incoming Next LLC filed trademark applications for the Sameko Saba name and logo. They handled performance services, printed goods, toys, digital files, the whole catalog. The brand Sameko Saba was legally locked down before the public had even heard about it for the first time. And this information is pulled straight from the public US trademark records, by the way. The company was registered in Delaware. What's interesting about companies incorporated in Delaware is that it lets the owner stay anonymous, which is perfect for VTubers. Also, the tax setup is friendly because the legal system there is built to protect them. The lawyer on the filing makes it even clearer. The trademarks were handled by Michelle Robichaud at Auden Law and Media. And Auden isn't some random firm you find on Google. They've done legal work for major VTuber agencies and big-name independent streamers in the past. I've also actually worked with Auden in the past as well, and everything I've heard lines up about them. They're generally good at this. Point being is that Saba walked into independence with the same caliber of legal firepower as the corporation she left behind.
That's
and
cool.
Her model matched the money. Her Life 2D model was built by top-tier artists and rigged by one of the most respected riggers in the industry. She didn't just have one artist for the L2D and one for the rigging as it usually goes. She had an entire team.
Here are all the people that helped make today possible.
Sameko Saba's character model was designed by Shu, also known as Shu-kun, and illustrated by Tusaki Shina. The Life 2D rigging for her model was handled by the riggers Celia and Quanchi. And then there was the merch. The day she debuted, she dropped a full line with Omocat, a streetwear brand that sits right at the crossroad of anime and fashion. They did a lot of HoloLive collabs in the past as well. There was a $200 debut bundle with a hand-signed postcard at the top and a little $6 blind bag pins at the bottom, hoodies, all of the works, and it all sold out almost immediately. Sameko Saba didn't have to claw for attention from fellow creators either. Other huge independent VTubers who'd recently left HoloLive, Doobie, Nimi Nightmare, were right there hyping her up. There was no marketing budget needed when your friends are some of the biggest name in the scene and they're all vouching for you at once. Anyway,
You know, so that's something I wanted to point out. I really like how, you know, that level of collaboration and mutual respect is valued in that space. It's something I love about old school YouTube, which I just don't see happening anymore. I think part of it could be because maybe some of the big people who used to do these big collaborations, now they're so big they don't need to collaborate, or they're so busy with their own projects and responsibilities that they aren't able to. But I remember when everyone used to move to LA and then you'd see, you know, Markiplier and PewDiePie or Jacksepticeye and Mark on camera together. And it could be something as simple as try not to laugh challenge or whatever. And it's nothing huge, but it's them choosing to work together. And it was something I really loved. I don't feel like too many YouTubers do the same kind of collaboration much anymore. I know we do have, you know, at least in the VTuber space, we have plenty of ways to collaborate. But, you know, it's like, it just doesn't feel the same.
I was genuinely so hyped. I can't even begin to describe how everyone was so excited for her return. It's
I was very, very excited. I was so excited.
Waiting with bated breath, wondering what she would do next.
I was
so
very,
what do you
very excited.
Even call this? It's branded as an indie. It walks and talks like an indie, but she's got the LLC, the trademark attorney, the elite production behind her, and the premium fashion collab, and a built-in network of A-list peers. It was a sophisticated setup. Indie feels sort of like a stretch here, and corporate isn't right either. It's something in between that we don't really have a name for it yet, but I have a feeling it's gonna start showing up a lot more often. But whatever.
It's like Glitch Productions, you know? They're an indie company by every stretch of the word. They don't have this giant company backing them, but they're very well supported and very well funded. So there's that part.
Whatever you call it, it created a problem that's going to haunt the rest of the story. Because everyone who showed up for Saba showed up expecting this level of operation, this level of production, not be patient with a solo creator finding her feet. After all of her health announcements were a while ago, and we all know the internet has a short memory, they had all settled in the background now. Barely anyone mentioned them anymore. Meanwhile, this debut was calibrated to a polished, professional, top-of-the-industry product. With all the output and consistency that implies, nobody was prepared to be patient. And after all, why would they be? Nothing about this looked like it needed patience. For a while it was...
I mean, I get that, but... Again, like, are you just going onto the internet to seek entertainment? Or are you going to actually care about the people behind it? I keep thinking of Gooseworks. I don't care how many of you feel like your wants and dreams were squandered by how the Amazing Digital Circus went. You ruined an artist's joy. I don't care how much you feel like you were in the right to say or demand whatever you wanted. You killed someone's dream because you just couldn't help yourself. And you can argue, oh, well, you're a creator on the internet. You need to just get over it. Or you could stop making it all about you. Come on. I don't know. I do get what they're talking about, though, in a way that if you expect a certain level of consistency and she starts off that way, well, then that can raise some frustrations for sure.
Everything everyone hoped it would be. July 2025 was Saba at full power. 12 streams in a single month, plus a couple of videos, which, if you know her history, is a staggering amount of output. She was on, and when she was on, she was magic. She'd rage her way through horror games, screaming at Resident Evil 4 and Alien Isolation, talking trash to the game the whole way through as a coping mechanism for being genuinely terrified. Then she'd turn around and play rhythm game, and she was cracked at them. On other nights, she'd boot up some dumb little simulator and yap at chat for hours, and she could sing not just pop covers, but jazz, bossa nova, and old city pop with a beautiful voice. At least, that's mine and many others' humble opinion.
That means divided by, right? Got your nose! I got your nose! What are you gonna do now? I got your nose!
Jeez, just boom, boom, boom. The squeaks, jeez.
This is a paper boat on me, by the way. Paper boat. Do I need to explain the symbolism behind a paper boat, or do you guys kind of understand it? Paper boat. Maybe it's subjective.
My heart.
Most things are in art. So maybe a paper boat means something different to you, but a paper boat to me means, I don't know. It's so fragile, but yet it floats. That's gonna be annoying to stop. Paper boat. Paper boat.
I didn't have a problem with it.
Damn, bro. The winds of change ain't blowing. Anyway, we gotta figure out who's in charge and stick with them, you feel me, bro? We gotta get in good with Rima. I'm not reading that out loud. I don't know what that means.
Ew.
I don't trust him anymore. Happy birthday, Hatsune Miku! Her name is Hatsune Miku. If I see one more of you call her the Fortnite girl, I'm gonna freak out.
That is one thing that I didn't like about all the Fortnite collabs and stuff. How many kids are going to get a certain skin and not know anything about the character? I mean, you know, I don't play Fortnite, so I don't know how much information they do give you if you choose a particular skin, but it's like, as cool as it is to just be on some big popular game or whatever, will people even know who you are? That's my issue with it, but...
Fucking... Come on!
But the best part was who she was doing it with. She started collabing with two other massive independent VTubers, Doobie and Nimi. And if you'd been around for years, those two were not strangers. Without anyone being legally allowed to say it out loud, Doobie was the woman who used to be Amelia Watson, and Nimi was the one who used to be Sarah's Fauna. Saba's old whole life family scattered to independence, finding each other again on the other side. Which means when Saba and Doobie collabed, it was Ame Same again, the duo that defined an entire era of hololive back together. Except now they had to perform this little strange ritual where they pretended to be meeting for the first time. Think of it like this elaborate manners of an 18th century dinner party where everyone at the table knows a certain scandalous fact about someone precisely because everyone knows nobody is permitted to say it. The whole thing runs on a polite, agreed upon fiction. So that's what this was. Two best friends of half a decade introducing themselves to each other like
half a
polite
decade.
strangers.
Wow.
Both of them perfectly aware that the other one knows and the audience knows, but the rule is that the words can never actually be spoken.
Yeah, when they were like, "Oh yeah, by the way, nice to meet you." And that was genuinely heartwarming. I loved that.
You can watch them wink their way through it in real time here.
Here, eat this.
Wait, is it good to eat?
Yeah, it's good. Do you think I would poison you?
I don't know. I don't know. This is our first time meeting.
There it is.
That's
There
right.
it is.
Nice to meet you, by the way.
First time meeting, maybe.
So nice to meet you.
And she looked happy. Watching those collabs,
Yeah.
Saba seemed genuinely comfortable, relaxed, laughing, doing this because she wanted to be there. That was the dream version of going independent. No
Yeah.
corporate structure choking you down. You keep all your money because nobody's taking a cut. There was no idle obligations, no flying back and forth between countries to record, and you still get to enjoy your audience and mess around with your friends at your own pace.
Oh, this is how I died last time. Wait a sec. Wait.
Wow.
Jimmy! Tom and Jerry scream.
I remember this too. This is cute.
My kitten. My Discord kitten.
Meow. Hello, princess. Are you ready to play another level of Peak tonight? I've turned my status to Do Not Disturb.
At this
Oh,
point,
God.
the public sentiment conclusion was that it was probably the corporal obligations that had been
I'm just gonna throw this out there, but part of the issue with the graduation, I think, was her overwhelming popularity and being known partially as the face of early VTubing. That's a huge astronomical weight as someone that can be on someone as socially awkward. Yeah, they're right. They're right. And I don't know why it's so complicated for people to not understand that.
weighting her down. After all, she'd been streaming now more than ever. It just made sense. But that wasn't all. On the 16th, she commented on Kurage Roa's tweet, another ex-Hololive member who was officially reincarnated a few days later. Off-stream, it looked even better. The merch was selling so fast that Omocat had to extend the pre-orders because the original run sold out. In late
Jeez.
July, she even made a surprise appearance at Doobie's Virtual Vacation Summer Concert,
No
turning up
way.
unannounced to provide backup vocals.
I did see, was it these guys or was it someone else? I thought I saw Nimi and then someone else like doing a 3D performance and they were like dancing together or something and it was cute. I just forgot who it was, but
It looked like she finally had
That's
it
so
all,
cute.
and that she had finally figured out how to do things on her own terms. So you'll forgive everyone for thinking the disappearing act was finally over. Although she stayed fairly consistent all throughout the end of June and July, and fans were ecstatic. On August 1st, she mentioned needing a few days to recharge as she was very busy. Fans were understanding. After all, this happens to every creator, and a few days gap was nothing compared to the month-long gaps they were used to. Saba then resumed streaming in August. She literally had a stream the next day of that tweet, actually, and remained fairly consistent throughout the month. But
I love
then
how big the ears
September
are.
started considerably slowing down. She only managed 5 streams throughout the month. On September 14, she gave another update. She was dealing with health issues over the past week, and she apologized for not updating them sooner. She thanked her fans for their patience and said she'd see them when she feels better. She live streamed 3 times in early October and then fell quiet. On October 20th,
before I really try and lock in and just hear the rest of the story, I'm curious about one aspect of content creation that I wouldn't personally delve into because I know sometimes, again, it can be something you rope into yourself as a permanent fixture of who you are that is not able to be changed, or at least, you know, in the eyes of some of your fans, it'll be something that'll follow you. I even seen this with, I forgot her name, but there's a horror VTuber that has medical devices on her model as indication of health issues that she has. I think even Iron Mouse had a model that had all this like high-tech medical device because she is embracing the fact that she does have these health issues. I'm just thinking like there's a lot of ways that you can kind of ingratiate your audience with issues that you do face as part of your character. Like we've seen that with just the personality of models themselves. It ingratiates your audience to how you act, what type of personality you have, and certain facts about you based on how you look. So I'm curious why now, after all these months, it's still so up in the air. When she got such a new start, she could have just been like, hey, by the way, just so you know, this is how this is going to be. It's going to be infrequent. I can't make any promises because I'm not even aware of what's going on. If I knew more, I would tell you. Like that could have been a really great place to start that out instead of just charging ahead like it'll probably be okay. I don't know. I know a lot of people might do that because they would rather not worry anybody, but at the same time, you have a fresh way to communicate. You know, set the record straight from the get-go.
20th, she addressed it, posting, "Yo-ho! I know it's been rather quiet over here at the lighthouse, just been chugging along. I wanted to check in with all of you. I hope you have a good Monday." And yet about a week later, on October 20th, she was back on the grind with another Alien Isolation stream, followed by another stream the very next day and a Repo collab on the 30th with Doobie and Lemu. And then she even streamed again the next day for Halloween, revealing a new scary costume. She was pushing through, she was doing fairly well. Her fan base were blessed by a karaoke stream on November 2nd. And then another Doobie Lemu collab on the 7th. And then a Leaf It Alone stream on the 9th. And then total silence. On November 19, she posted, "Sorry for the late notice, but streams and activity will be spotty for a little while as I deal with some health-related issues. But as soon as I feel well and able, I will pop in. Thank you always for your patience." It was clear that she was still struggling with health-related issues. And still, fans stayed patient. At first, they told themselves it'd be a few days, and the gap kept on stretching. A few days became a couple of weeks. The couple of weeks became most of a month, and somewhere in there, the tone of the waiting changed. The patience started curdling into restlessness, especially with the holidays coming up. Because if you come from a corporate VTuber culture, the big holidays are sacred. The Christmas streams, the New York countdowns are company-wide events. That's when your favorite shows up, no matter what. So the fans waited. Surely she'd be back for Christmas. Some of them still believed. But Christmas came and went, still no words. And then, just a few days after Christmas, she tweeted, "Yo-ho-ho! Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, gamers! Thank you all for your patience with me throughout the year as I learned to navigate some recurring health issues. I'm still learning. Sometimes I'm good at balancing things and other times I'm terrible at it. And my health and productivity suffers from it. It's so easy to feel down when my body also feels like, well, shit. But in the end, so long as I get back up again, I'll do just that and keep her going as best as I can. Just my old lady light keeper pace. I'm so lucky to be supported by such kind friends and folks. Thank you all so much." The majority of her fan base received this message positively and wished her the best, and frankly, they were just happy to get news from her. But on the other hand, some others weren't as understanding.
Wow.
Particularly on forum boards where some displayed more than a large amount of skepticism, while others...
See, it's like, this is the crap that frustrates me. Like, who the hell hurt you into thinking, oh, she's still learning? Like, it's such bad faith nonsense. Like, what the hell? Why do you people do this? Where you're so insistent that, like, no, I know better. You're lying. Like, what the hell happened to you, man? And I say this as someone who has had plenty of favorite YouTubers that I've enjoyed ending up actually being terrible people and being exposed for things down the line. Does that completely tarnish my viewpoint? Excuse me. That everybody else that I like is just going to be a bad actor? I don't get this crap, man.
Forum boards where some displayed more than a large amount of skepticism.
Didn't apologize. Excuse me? They just said, I'm sorry that I haven't been very consistent. Didn't promise to do better. Promise to do better how? If you have health issues, what are you supposed to do? If it's not something that you can immediately determine by rest and food and like working out or something like that, how are you supposed to do better? If you have a chronic issue, what's the do better supposed to be? For all you armchair doctors out there that can just do everything, yet you are not successful in your own way. Come on.
While others just made the jokes that gets made every time a VTuber disappears. There was even this wild theory at one point that she had timed the update for the 20th on purpose because that's when most people's membership renew. So it's the day they decided whether to resubscribe or not. I swear one of these days I'm gonna lose it with what people type online. But regardless, fans hoped Saba would stream for New Year's Eve. Then New Year's Eve came and went and there was no words from Saba. Some did not take her skipping out on New Year's Eve well. However, she did surface again in January. Her first stream was back on the 13th. 4 streams over the month. Not much, sure, but enough to make people think that maybe the worst was over. On January 26th, she popped up as a surprise guest at Vince Fantome's concert. That was huge. And on February 5th, she announced a new merch line. And the same day, a pop-up event in Tokyo at the Anime Plaza in Shibuya, alongside another VTuber, Kurage Roa, who older fans will tell you used to be Shion from Hololive. So once again,
okay, so that's Shion. Very cool.
Everything but name. A whole event, merch, a venue, a collaborator, and most people were genuinely excited for it.
Okay. Now I will say this, even I would be looking at this like, so you're dedicating a lot of time for these big events, yet you're not even able to pop in a little bit for other things. I mean, I would think, this is me starting to make my own thoughts about this. If I were having such constant health issues and I just am completely unable to prioritize even a little bit of information, a little bit of a stream here and there, even 15, 20-minute streams to just be like, hey, everybody, how's it going? How's your life going? That kind of thing. Even tweeting something. Yet you can put in opportunity and not have to worry about these types of collabs. That does feel very weird. I don't know.
A venue, a collaborator, and most people were genuinely excited for it. Except this particular event kicked off its own round of criticism. First, the familiar one resurfacing, that Saba only reappears to...
Hold on. What does it say? She basically doesn't have to work and can quickly pop back into a cash boost when she needs it.
Only reappears to sell merch. That used to be a criticism of her all the way back when she was Gargura. But some decided to take it further. If she's well enough to tweet and put together a merch line, she's well enough to give people what they actually want, which is streams. And second, the criticism centered on one specific item in particular.
Okay.
A happy. What happened was that the basic version, priced around $69, sold out. So the only one left was the premium version, a much pricier product, over $200. And people got upset, assuming
her fans have shown nothing but unyielding kindness and patience. As a thank you, she decided to raise the price. Oh.
when she jacked up the price of her merch. But that wasn't it. It was simply a different higher-end item. And I doubt...
Wait, hold up. I'm not understanding.
People got upset when
Sorry.
$69 sold out. So the only one left was the premium version, a much pricier product, over $200. And people got upset, assuming she jacked up the price of her merch. But that wasn't it. It was simply a different higher-end item. And I
Okay, so people are illiterate and not understanding things. Okay.
doubt she had much say in the pricing at this pop-up anyway, since the numbers are one-to-one with Roa's merch sitting right next to it. As for her only showing up to announce merch, these things are planned months ahead, and they're usually contractual. Even if Saba was in a rough patch health-wise, she'd still be on the hook to promote this particular line because it's a collaboration with a third party. But still, more people were happy than unhappy. And then, finally on February 7th, 2026, she went live. Nobody knew at the time, but that would be the last stream she'd have. The hope rolled forward one more time to Valentine's Day.
Probably in February. I'm gonna be having a new outfit. Yay! Finally! This fish put some more clothing on.
The fanbase strongly believed she'd be back for it, as that was the one holiday she'd historically never missed. But then Valentine's Days was the real killer, because Valentine's came and Valentine's went, and there was no Saba.
Wait, so not even a single Valentine's tweet. I think I'm done. I still watch her live stream, but it's stupid to Kamiyoshi her at this point. I don't even care if she has a relationship or has a baby. At least pretend to care about your fans. I mean, I can understand that. Like, if you're... even now, there are some points where, I mean, a little tweet can do a lot. It can do a lot to even... and I say this as someone who wouldn't even have that same grace to my own fan base, which I am painfully aware of now as I'm thinking about it. But, I mean, looking at it from another perspective, I can see how even a tweet, even if it doesn't answer everything the way you would want, it at least gives your fans something. And for a lot of people, that's more than enough. So, that's tough.
And after that, there was nothing at all. And then March, April, and the better part of May trickled by with zero communication from her. Fans started obsessively tracking her streams and comparing them with breaks she took as Gargura in the past to try desperately to find an answer or establish some kind of correlation. Until one Twitter post blew the lid off everything. It all started with a single post of someone deciding to cancel their membership. They tweeted, "I told myself that if she didn't stream or even make a community..."
Well, so that makes sense if already you have so many people arguing that it's a, I'm just showing up to, make money and dip. Well, then, yeah, I can see why someone, saying, hey, this is my own personal experience and this is what I say about this. Well, then, yeah, I can see why people are like, hey, we're I have a lot to say about this. Boom, and then it blows up.
Post by the next time this renews, I would have to cancel it. But this really is such a hard decision for me. I want to keep supporting her, but Imo, it is a little screwed up to just go AWOL without any notice.
Yeah.
There isn't a single other VTuber I know who would take this many frequent hiatus and not even make a post. I'm not even asking for much here, just a vague, sorry about a lack of content, personal things happening, but we get nothing. Maybe I'll change my mind in the morning. But for now, I just feel kind of sad. I've been a fan of hers since her first incarnation, and it just sucks to get basically nothing from a content creator I enjoy. Like I said, I'm gonna sleep on it, but for now, this is where it stands for me. And I know y'all don't really care, but this is my social media. I'm going to vent my feelings if I want to. Saba at this point hadn't streamed in 2 entire months. And that tweet just sparked an entire discussion that lasted for days. So there were people airing out their grievances, such as, "It's really funny how Saba left, came back to announce overpriced merch, and then left again without another word." This tweet got over 1.5 million views. And
and that's the problem. It's like, if you didn't understand that the merch that was available was not overpriced, well then that's an impression that you're going to leave hundreds of thousands of people. That's why I take so much issue with people trolling or making, purposefully infuriating posts just because it's fun or it's the freedom of speech or whatever. Like, I hate people who do that. Because it's not even just you being an ignorant, annoying prick. It's you getting lots of other people an incorrect impression of things, which does hurt the people that you're criticizing. And I know people think that that doesn't matter or that they don't need to care about other people. Well, then you wonder why there's so many artists and content creators out there that just burn out and they can't do it anymore. I'm not saying that Saba is totally in the right here, but the response here on the negative is not right either.
To be clear, the discussion that followed wasn't just her fan base. Saba discussions have always pulled in casual viewers, onlookers, rival fan bases, antis, and...
Wait, hold up.
I've always pulled in casual viewers, onlookers...
I'm allowing myself to get frustrated here. You want to know the difference between Saba and Mori or Kiara? Mori and Kiara communicate. They let people know ahead of time and post regularly on Twitter during. I mean, sure, but if you really want to go that route, Mori has had a lot of people criticizing her because she's so communicative. You know what I mean? And yeah, she has a lot of music where she talks about bettering yourself and not sitting around expecting people to just give you things. And she's very communicative about that. But then people find reason to criticize that as well. So you can't win one way or another for people like this. It's so annoying.
Rival fan bases, antis, and even haters posing as fans. And it's exactly these factions fighting each other that have always exacerbated any discussions around her. And you'll see all of them in what comes next. And in this case, the discussion cut both ways as well. Plenty of people pushed back on the criticism as well. The argument
Okay, wait. I think the hate is ridiculous. She makes high-quality content every time she streams because she's streamed for years. She knows how to engage and captivate an audience. Due to that, she makes money from people who want to support her. For those complaining that she isn't producing a lot of content, just know that she's a person outside of the work. Okay, true, but I think this is another issue that frustrates me about social media. We're kind of getting off track. All of this was about communication, which she wasn't giving. When you don't even have to do very much to communicate. Imagine your friend works hard in their career and was able to only have to work a couple hours a month. Wouldn't you be happy for them? Sure, we would love more of Saba, but this is her choice, and if you don't like it, move on. Sure, that's very true, but communicate that. Communicate that. I think that's what a lot of people are just frustrated about, which I feel like you can always have a little bit more communication.
If a friend of yours landed a job where they were successful enough to only work a few days a month and still get by, you'd be happy for them. So why aren't you happy for her? Others pointed out that membership doesn't buy you access to her, but one tweet in particular raised a sharper question. Does Saba owe at least one membership stream as a perk for paying members? As one of the perks listed on her memberships are members-only live streams. And here's the ironic part. Back when she debuted and was streaming constantly, people blamed Hololive, the corporate obligations, the pressure that was wearing her down. But now that she was independent and barely streaming, the same logic flipped completely. Maybe.
Wait, what? Okay, so they blamed the corporate office for pushing her to stream, but then they flip it and say, well, her debuting as an indie just gives everyone false hope that she'll stream more, which in turn implies that Cover was at fault. Is some kind of most secretly malicious and, dare I say, manipulative stuff I've seen a person do. What? I don't get it.
That she was independent and barely streaming, the same logic flipped completely. Maybe Hololive was actually the thing keeping her going this entire time. And so they started blaming her instead and praising Hololive. Most of the criticisms.
Oh, so they're like, hey, someone forced her to stream more. Shut the hell up. Half of y'all don't deserve the content that you watch.
Slung at her during the stretch boiled down to one accusation, that she was using her fan base as living wallets. Saba/Gargura was always a piece of shit, and the only reason she...
Nurgle, what do you do? Besides get money off of posting rage bait tweets. I mean, we all know that's why someone pays for their checkmark, right? If you want to start making accusations, I can do this too.
Left Hololive in the first place is that they dared to demand she actually do her job instead of sitting at home collecting royalties. I and others predicted that
she would do the exact same thing. Shut up. Shut up.
She would do the exact same thing once becoming an indie, and here we are. Saba/Gura/Senzawa was basically playing the card of I'm too sick, tired, etc. to stream, so please continue to support me, ooh, for the past 6 years. I get saying, well, she isn't obligated to stream for you, but you are a streamer. It's insulting to fans to just not stream.
Wendy, shut up. I don't even want to try and go into how stupid that is. Just shut up. Shut the hell up. You don't know their life. You don't. You can't act like you know all of that and be like, oh, I'm just too sick. Yeah, and I know. My friends and I predicted this in our Discord. Shut up.
And another said, stop giving her money and see how fast she comes back. She is literally using y'all as a wallet, Lamau. I've never seen a VTuber this blatant about not giving a fuck about their fans.
Really? You haven't gone very far then. I have seen stuff. I have seen streamers actually, whether they're VTuber or not, actually criticize their fans and completely disregard them. I don't even remember names, but there was a few people from the Niji Sanji branch that were just absolutely vocally detestable people. Not just quiet, and a lot of you people think that silence equals compliance, or it means that they do the thing that you don't think they do, or vice versa. Whatever it means that you people think silence means, there are far worse people out there. You need to just get a reality check.
The only achievement of those who left Hololive like Gora or Aqua is that they kept slacking off on change even after going independent. So it's the faction who brainlessly defends them with "not streaming is the management's fault" has finally disappeared. Imagine having over 1,400,000 followers and just ghosting them. And a lot of it wasn't even just aimed at her anymore. People just reach for the usual internet insults for her fanbase as well. They call them cucks, loser, simps, incels. However, amongst the memes, the anger, and the people arguing back and forth, some people pointed out something more legitimate. They believed that at the very least she owed her fanbase some communication, and if she couldn't do it herself, she should have someone else.
Well, if she's going through something, I don't know, man, make a community post. Well, May, a broken clock is right twice a day. You said one reasonable thing here. 1 for 2.
Tweet or post on her behalf. No hate to Saba, but I'd say she does owe some fans some type of notice.
That's fair.
Oh, because this is a job. When you go on vacation at work, you put your time in and let your boss know. Why does she get a pass? Not parasocial, but why are we setting double standards? And
I do think that's fair. I genuinely think that's fair. Yes, I've even said there's been times where I don't know what to say. But I feel like since I've had issues like that, I have gotten a lot better at just being like, hey, this is the situation. Am I perfect at it? No. I'm still learning. I can imagine some of you being like, nah. It's like I can understand where she's coming from, but I feel like it also is more than reasonable to just be like, hey, I can't do it. I have this medical issue, something.
Somewhere along the line throughout this discourse that had been happening ever since she was Gargura, the opinion shifted from Saba cannot stream due to health issues to Saba does not want to stream because she either hates her fanbase, VTubing, or because she's simply lazy. And on top of all the not streaming criticism, she'd also been trailed.
I guess here's the other thing, and this is where I feel like these internet sleuths are really kind of annoying. Explain to me why it would be more beneficial to... I mean, haven't we seen plenty of content creators flat out not care about their audience? And they've said, when they genuinely haven't cared, they're like, well, I'll post when I post, and you guys are just going to have to be okay with that. I mean, we've seen that before, haven't we? We've had plenty of YouTubers do the exact same thing, where they're literally like, well, it's what you get. Why would someone try and complicate it with all these health issues, however vague they might be? I mean, yes, I can at least point to Maury being like, hey, I have these doctor's appointments, I have this issue, I have this health thing, I have scar tissue built up on my lungs because of COVID and all that stuff, and it stresses me out with trying to make music. Like, okay, that's something. And I could understand if, maybe Saba could have communicated something like that, but... at the same time, literally, it comes back to all this bad faith nonsense that I just cannot stand.
By the same recycled accusations the whole time. Because she has a lolly avatar, a certain corner of the internet has always slapped her with the PDF label, or called her PDF. And this isn't new, it's followed her and her fanbase since the Gargura days, with live streamer Brittany Venti casting her the first stone.
They're called Hololive now, that they do in English. They have little lollies, prepubescent girls on YouTube. And my first impression of it was, oh, is this like a child show? Is this a kid's show? Like kids can see it, kind of like Dora the Explorer, and like interact with it. Then I come to find out, no, actually the chat is full of 40-year-old men getting off to the depiction of a 9-year-old.
These people
You were so close to having a rational thought. Okay. So close. You were so close. You actually asked a question. You said, oh, I wonder, is this like Dora the Explorer? Is it some kid show or whatever? What's the deal with that? And then you had to just extrapolate nonsense. Oh, but then I found out that every single person in the chat is actually a 40-year-old male, and she's specifically 9 years old. Where did you find any of that information? I would be embarrassed to like a content creator like that. I would be embarrassed. We lack curiosity. we think that in order to become an adult, whatever impression you have of the world, the more jaded the better, you are a thorough, thinking man or woman. And if you think that someone is a bad actor and they're just a terrible person, well then you thought about it all by yourself. You didn't look up a single bit of information about anything. I cannot stand people like that. And I said it before. I already made a short about it a while ago. Gura, Sameko Saba, they're not a lolly. Shut the hell up with that. It's a grown person. And if you know anything about grown people, if you've ever interacted with grown people in your life, not everyone's going to have a deep voice when they're an adult. Okay? They're not all going to be like this. But they're also not going to have issues understanding how a toothpaste tube works or being scared of the dark. There's many easy to decipher lines of when someone is playing a character that is actually inappropriate versus someone just being a small, goofy woman. But people like this, they just ruin everything because they think that in order to be an adult, you just have to be so jaded and narcissistic about what you believe about everybody else. And it was so, you almost had an actual conversation. You almost had a reasonable discussion about this whole thing. You could have learned something. I even saw that with a streamer complaining about Iron Mouse beating Kai Cenat's record, who Kai Cenat, by the way, didn't want anyone to criticize her. Do y'all remember that? Of course not. Because you were just too blinded by your hate for someone else instead of even listening to what your own favorite content creator said. And someone made a short that said, how did this thing beat Kai Cenat? And I said, you could just Google who Iron Mouse is. You guys are all on the internet. Instead of sitting there going, chat, this is so weird. Chat, what is even going on? Chat, 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 chat. And then I commented that, and someone said, not every niche needs to be understood or respected. I took that comment and added the content creator and said, I would be embarrassed if I had fans saying that kind of stuff. That's a terrible mindset to nurture in your audience. Not every niche needs to be understood or respected. I can pick and choose who I respect and treat humanely if I just don't like them. Shut the hell up. God, I thought I was going to get through this without any anger. It's just not going to happen.
Surfaced every time she does anything, across all three of her personalities, like clockwork. The day of her debut, a post blew up on r/livestream fails pointing out that Gargura had redebuted as Sameko Saba to 200k live viewers. And the top comments
How
were,
is that a fail?
Well, exactly what you'd expect. Why do they seem to always look like children? So wholesome.
Excuse me for just one moment, and let me ask you a very pointed question. How many children, assuming that you've ever been outside, been to a mall, been any place like that, have eyeballs that big, hair in that color? How many? I cannot stand you people. You don't give a damn about reality. You don't give a damn. You just want to argue. I mean, we've seen this with anime in and of itself, right? It doesn't even matter what kind of anime we look at, right? We're either all hypersexualizing women or we're a bunch of PDFs. That is the only rationale you give any of us. God forbid we just like a cartoon. And there are plenty of shows out there that have no fan service, or God forbid you actually put something in there that actually contributes to the story. It's the same thing like looking at American cinema and assuming that all of it is dark comedy and horror. That's not realistic. But you people just assume, well, I've seen one or two things about anime that I don't like, and I'm just going to assume the entire fan base is actually. I have had to hide my interest in anime for the last 25 years. I'm kind of sick and tired of it. I'm 35. Let me enjoy something. Onward.
Top comments were, well, exactly what you'd expect. Why do they seem to always look like children? So wholesome she got 200k PDF. watching. You can't tell me you wouldn't distance yourself or your children from a friend/family member who watches shit like this. VTubers really...
You know how there's actual kids that watch VTubers as well? There's actually a really great creator out there who's a raccoon character, and they do a lot of like different gaming stuff, like where they will do marble run games, but they go one step further and put the names of all their chat in the game itself. You know, you're contributing to me, you get to be in the game itself, and we get to see who wins this randomly generated marble game. They do so many live streams to help kids. They have done videos live streaming to their audience, and there's video out there of a little kid being so excited to see this creator pop up out of a trash can and chat to them and give them a high five and all of that stuff. Wouldn't you think it's really amazing if a creator was that interested in you, like as a fan? It's like Goku giving you a fist bump from your TV screen. I never even watched Dragon Ball Z, but I would feel like that's amazing. But of course, the only rationale we can ever give as we just descend to our ivory towers and we talk about the realism of gun and ball games, because that's how all you people act, if I were to start putting you in boxes, that's how we view everyone else on the internet. If any man likes anything like this, then they're a horrible, awful, nasty person. I've had people tell me that all throughout my YouTube career. Anytime I talk about anime, they're like, oh, you're one of those people. It's so annoying, and I'm tired.
Opened the PDF Pandora's box. The popularity of these animated children models is honestly frightening. Shame on these women for exploiting it too. Disgusting. PDF is back. Can't wait for the drama from the jealous small VTubers. I'm pretty understanding of most things in life, but being over the age of like 15 and watching something like this is just weird. Really, really, really fucking weird. But her silence...
Do you understand most things in life? I would love to question you about that.
Didn't just anger people. It left a hole others exploited as well. Since Saba doesn't have an official Discord, she never did. In fact, most of the ex-Holo members don't have a fan Discord as well. Well, except for Doobie. This is probably to put some healthy degrees of separation between them and some of the fans that get too attached. Anyways, the absence of a centralized place that is moderated for fans created a gap in her case. And this gap is often easy to fill for impersonators. Lately, especially, Hololive has been getting tons of impersonators. And around the holidays, someone ran a fake Secret Santa scam pretending to be her, with a wish list that conveniently included a Nintendo Switch 2 for the scammer. There were real fans that were missing her and who donated actual money to it before anyone figured out that it wasn't actually her. And then there was a TikTok account called Sameko Saba that's been restreaming her old YouTube VODs live, pretending to be her broadcasting in real time.
I have seen people do this. I mean, even back years ago when I joined DeviantArt because I thought I could be an artist and I can't. But I saw people just reposting art. This was before we had AI. This was before we had people scrubbing out signatures or watermarks or whatever. This was people just flat out reposting art, and then they would gleefully tell the person who they were stealing from, well, I'm just doing this to show people how much I love your content. I'm trying to have more people support you. Just flat out blatantly lie. So nothing's been new under the sun, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just be clear about that.
People showed up to the live streams thinking it was her and donated to her through the TikTok app, which in turn had people criticize Saba for not doing enough in terms of communication to protect her fans from legitimate scammers. But then, just as everyone has started giving up hope, almost a month after the viral Twitter post, Saba finally addressed it in a member post. So here VTuber etiquette says you don't leak paid content, so I can't put it directly on stream. I can only talk about it vaguely. But she clarified a few things worth repeating here, mostly because it reads like a direct response to the criticism she's been getting. She first off opens by confirming what a lot of us already suspected, that her health hasn't been good. She says she has a chronic illness that isn't improving and that she's been feeling the worst she ever has, and that she'll get into it more when she can, but it gets her really emotional. She also says she's pausing memberships on May 25th. That one lines up pretty directly she with the loudest complaint, that she was still collecting money from members while she stopped streaming. She also promised a longer public tweet in the coming days to lay out the whole situation. And most importantly, she addressed the criticism at the center of it all, the communication or lack of it with her fans about what was going on. And this is the most important part, as her silence is enabling bad actors, as we've seen throughout the video, to fill the space with their own narratives instead.
And this is why I hate people who do this. Even when someone isn't silent, people just come in and they make videos going, well, as far as I can tell, this is this and this is this. The fact you breathe air and monetize your content, because I've seen people on YouTube make videos like this, just screeching completely unfounded criticisms from the rooftops and getting paid for it. I don't have any issue saying how much I hate people like that. And I remember even thinking that about music artists that are just terrible, awful people. And you always get fans saying, or, you know, fans of that terrible person being like, you shouldn't hold on to that hate in your heart. That's not healthy. Oh, and their actions are so healthy? I'm sorry. I'm going to take issue with this until things get better. And they don't. There's always someone else that instead of caring about who the person actually is, they're just sitting there looking for any opportunity to say nonsense, which doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help anything at all.
At the end of the day, she said it plenty times that she's been dealing with a chronic illness on top of the pressure of fame and having to perform.
Me. All of you are looking at me. What a terrifying thought.
So it really comes down to whether or not you trust her word. Pausing memberships did raise another point worth sitting with. For the genuine fans who just wanted to support her with nothing expected in return, this also took away their ability to do that, and they might be the one impacted the hardest by this. So why does this happen? Why does a streamer taking a break curdle into people calling her lazy, a grifter, telling her to log off forever? Well, it's not random, and it's not just that fans are mean. There's a real psychological phenomenon underneath it. Core of it is that people are lonely. People want to belong to something, and a fandom is one of the few places left that reliably gives them that. Every fandom forms around liking a particular thing, and in this case, the thing is Saba. That shared liking is the price of entry, and once you're in, the actual point isn't really her anymore. It's everything that grows around her. You make friends in that chat, in this community. You recognize the same names every night. You're in on the jokes. You show up to the same place at the same time, and other people show up too. You collaborate on things. You clip her. You draw fan arts of her. And for that window of time, you're part of something. That's what a fandom built around a creator actually is. It's what experts called a ritual economy, where the creator is just the thing that everyone gathers around, and the real value is the gathering. Think of it as like Saba is the glue holding all of these people together, which is why her going quiet does so much more damage than it looks like it should. The fans don't...
Well, and that's where... Sorry, my headphones decided to unplug and just be weird. I don't know if I'll be able to hear anything. It just decided to not work.
Only lose Saba.
Yeah, it's so weird. It's like, I don't know, my headphones are breaking. I don't know. I feel like then it's always a question of, well, then what do you do when that fan base starts going way too far? The TADC fan base is a great example. I have never been more frustrated at a fandom in a while, especially since the Amazing Digital Circus stuff was one of the first times I was really excited to tune in to every new episode once I learned about it and once I got into it. And then you just see just the mental gymnastics and the unrealistic nonsense that people just spew at each other over and over, back and forth. And people act like it's just, oh, it's just the internet, it's just nonsense. No, it hurts the talents. It hurts everybody. But we just can't say no to people. We can't call them out. We can't say anything for whatever stupid reason. So I just always wonder where that line gets drawn. As great as it is for fan bases to come together, it's like they don't even know how to police themselves and try and foster a more positive space.
So much more damage than it looks like it should. The fans don't only lose Saba. They lost the reason the group convenes. When the stream stops, the chat thins out, the routine dissolves, friends you only ever saw in that one place drift apart, and the whole little world that formed around her starts to come apart. For a lot of these people, that world had become the main source of belonging. It was part of their identity. It was more load-bearing than anything in their offline life. So her silence doesn't just land as a show going on a break, it lands as a community dissolving, and as the specific person who could have kept it together simply choosing not to. The fans might feel like they're losing part of their identity, losing her. And so, slowly, they start resenting her.
Rock
more
solid,
and
I
more
don't
and
care about
feeling
a single
like it's
thing you
her
have to
fault.
say.
And that
I
also
do not care,
explains
bro.
why the same hiatus gets different reactions from different viewers. Some of them just shrug and say, well, I'll just pause my membership and restart it whenever she starts streaming again. But some others have total meltdowns. It also tracks with people's
See, and that's where I don't
attachment
get
styles.
that side of
The securely
things.
attached viewer takes a break as a break. But for a viewer whose whole sense of belonging was wired into that community experience, they will take the abscess as something closer to abandonment.
Well, and that's where, like, whose fault is that, genuinely? Like, I understand up to that point where you are fostering something that other people can feel like they belong to, but how is it your job to give people a sense of purpose? That's where I think that's a little bit unhealthy. And I know we're lonely. We have had so many, so many people struggling with socialization and community ever since the vid, right? And that's been a thing for a while, but how does it still become the entertainer's job to foster what someone feels and thinks in that regard? I think communication is the best that they can do, which is what we talked about. But when someone really ties everything together with, like, this is who I am, and if I don't get what I'm expecting, that's how you get the people who get entitled. That's how you get the people who start feeling like, well, if my needs aren't being met, then I'm just going to attack whoever I want because I'm not getting what I want. That is an issue. And I don't think that's anyone's job to fix but the person responsible.
So it's the same
person
event,
who's saying
but
all
it
that.
has completely two different internal responses. And obviously the loudest voices in the discourse are coming disproportionately from the people who had the most writing on it socially. And when it comes specifically to Saba, consistent absences set a low baseline. So you expect little, so there's little to violate. But Saba does the opposite. She comes back, she's great, the community reassembles, everyone reinvests, and then it goes quiet again. And then it repeats. And each return rebuilds the anticipation and redeposits everyone in investment right before the next silence wipes it out. It's not just the absence that does the damage, it's the intermittency. It's the feast or famine mode that she trained her audience to be on.
You feel like you want to do so much, right? And you know people expect certain things from you, but maybe you expect things of yourself. And you feel like you try, but maybe you're not doing enough for yourself, or you feel like you're doing what you can, but still doesn't, like, it's too much. You, like, take a moment.
Well, and that's where I would wonder, what if you took more time for yourself before you hopped back into this? I feel like that could have been a great place to solve that. You didn't have to take 3 months. You could have taken 6. Kizuna Aya took a whole year or something off, right? Really take time. Like, it's cool that you had a licensing company, you had merch, you had all this other stuff ready to go. Awesome. What if you took another 3 months, sat down with a therapist, sat down with some specialists, did something? Like, I obviously can't act like I know the whole answer because I don't know what type of chronic condition you have and how that would affect your life and your ability and all those other things. But it feels like part of this was a premature jump back into this whole space. That's my thought anyway.
And you just say that you are doing the best that you can, and that's all you can do. Just do what you can. I don't want to say do your best, but that's what it boils down to. Do what you can. And if anybody has a problem with what it is, school, work, whatever it is, fuck them. The world these days, it's so easy to get so stressed out and so wound up. The last thing you need is yourself in your own ear. making your life more miserable. I don't know where this came from. Just do what you can in life, alright? Don't compare your path to anybody else's. That's why they call it your life and your path done at your pace.
It's too much of an unpredictable on and off schedule, and it's almost the most destabilizing when it gets cut out. So the obvious question is, if you're this unhappy, why not just leave? Well, because they are already invested. There's a sunk cost fallacy there, but also it's comfortable and it's familiar. Humans are creatures of habits. There's no guarantee a new creator will give you the same thing with the same feeling or the same community. So you stay until the creator gives you truly nothing. It's like rewatching Lord of the Rings for the 20th time with 100 unwatched films right there.
Yes.
The known quantity usually wins. So here's a contradiction nobody really clocked at the time. For years, the consensus was that the company was the problem, the schedule, the obligations, the machine. Go independent, the thinking went, and you'd finally get to do this on your own terms. And a lot of talents did exactly that, and it worked. But on your own terms also includes the term where you're not okay, where you go quiet, where the answer to when's the next stream is sometimes just nothing for a while. Independence was never only the freedom to thrive, it was also the freedom to disappear. We just tended to picture the first part always. So the question the whole Saba situation keeps circling back to isn't really about Saba, is it? It's what we actually want from these performers, the freedom we keep saying we want for them, or the consistency we still expect, because it's looking more.
I can understand, though, now that we've gone full circle here over the last 5.5 hours. I'm sorry, I know I've been talking for a while, but I feel like I can kind of understand now how some people would look at it and be like, oh, maybe it wasn't Hololive this whole time. Maybe you just are inconsistent. Maybe you just don't communicate. Maybe you are just not as on top of things as you could be with understanding your health and understanding all those things. It's just frustrating that, you know, I mean, obviously we care about the creatives that we enjoy, right? I was a big Gura fan, so I get that, but I don't know. It's like I keep coming back to a lot of this started because lack of communication, which is not good. You know, you can always do more with that, and I put myself on that chopping block. But also, you know, it's from that space that you get those people arguing bad faith and all that sort of stuff, which is still their fault, because a lot of them, you give them an inch and they'll take a mile, and then they'll justify to all their friends that they're right, and then that causes all this issue. But at the same time, though, it did start with just simple lack of communication. So
more and more like you don't fully get both, because freedom tends to cut both ways. So what do you guys think of this situation? True. Let me know in the comments below. Videos like this are only possible.
Okay, so I'm just going to stop it here. But please go, if you do like Rima's content, which I'd hope you would, and I hope you check them out. They've done so many amazing deep dives that I have loved. It's given me such a great perspective on a lot of the creatives that I really enjoy, including Sameko Saba here. But yeah, this is a lot to think about. And I feel like there's some stuff that I'm not fully internalizing myself, because it does seem like it's a simple issue of lack of communication, but at the same time, I don't have chronic health issues that I can't really talk about. But then there's people like Iron Mouse that they communicate every single day. They are always talking and always posting and always being like, hey, so here's an update, here's this thing, I have this issue, and this is why I'm probably not going to be able to stream for the next couple days, or it's going to be a while and I don't know what to tell you. Like, we've seen examples of better communications, so that's just very interesting. I would have never thought that in the absence of stringent structure, maybe we would still get, you know, or we would get inconsistency. So it wasn't an issue of, you know, pressures of management, which was something I was really struggling to try and grasp, because, you know, the founder, or the main guy at Hololive had always seemed like such a caring person. So for the company itself to, you know, because we didn't have all the information, seemed to not care about some of its creatives, it was like, what is going on here? So having this little bit of a deep dive kind of puts things in a little bit more perspective. But I'm still going to be hopeful for Saba to return and maybe just be a little bit better on the communication. But you guys tell me your thoughts in the comments. If you made it here, type paper boat if you made it this far. and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.